Honestly, this is kind of a bad time to design a deck when the card I'm designing the deck around stops being tournament legal in 2 months, but at least I made it now and not never.
This deck works so well, I'm honestly surprised I haven't seen it anywhere else. The way it works is Tsareena has the move Icicle Soul, which does damage to the opponent's Pokemon until it's at 30 health. But Vanilluxe has an ability that makes any Pokemon under 40 health unable to attack, thus incapacitating it. And Icicle Soul can be used on benched Pokemon, so you can just incapacitate anything. I looked it up and none of the deck lists that I could find included Vanilluxe, so I'm pretty sure this is a relatively new idea. And another positive about this deck is that it's extremely cheap while also being extremely viable. It's only $17, but that's what I thought. Before I realized that I accidentally included a full art Colress's Tenacity, it's actually $13. But when I'm talking like this, I just sound like a door-to-door salesman, so let's watch a game to see how it actually works. The coin landed on heads, so I decided to go second, hoping to get Budew, and it paid off beautifully. In my first turn, all I did was use Arven to get a Buddy-Buddy Poffin and a Sparkling Crystal, and I used the Poffin to get some Pokemon. But my opponent used Lillie's Debt to get 2 Gibbles and TM Evo, along with Cynthia's Power Bracer or whatever it's called. This was not looking good. In a desperate attempt to get set up as fast as possible, I attached TM Evo and a Grass Energy to Budew before using Iono, and I hit the jackpot. Thanks to Vanillish, I can get fully set up this turn, and I have a bunch of supporters to get even more set up after that. But then my opponent uses Champion's Call to get Roserade, which massively buffs Garchomp, and then they use Lillie's Debt to get another Roselia and another Gibble, and then they use their other Gabite's Champion Call. They totally could have got Garchomp here, I'm not sure why they didn't, they got Gabite instead, then they one-shot Budew. It was this moment I realized, wait, doesn't Battle Cage cripple my entire strategy? I was now merely limited to incapacitating the active Pokemon, but not even that would stop me, I didn't even do that, I just drop-kicked to one-shot it. The opponent evolved Roselia and Gibble, and used Champion's Call to get Garchomp. Then they evolved Gabite and used Corkscrew Dive. But what they didn't realize was that was exactly what I wanted them to do. If they stayed on the bench and set up for Draconic Buster, with all the Roserade boosts, they would one-shot me, and I wouldn't be able to hit them because of Battle Cage. But now that they're in the active spot and vulnerable, I can use Icicle Soul to incapacitate them. My opponent then uses Champion's Call to get Spiritomb, which up to that point I had never seen before. I was so confused. Why didn't they just get Garchomp? It has 70 health. And then I read what the attack did. But I used Dawn the previous turn, so I just got back up again, used Crispin, and incapacitated Spiritomb. They then used Champion's Call to get another Garchomp. They were now in the same losing position as before. But they, not knowing what Ice Cream is, switch back into their damaged Garchomp, then realize that they can't attack, and pass their turn over to me. I use Arven to get Buddy-Buddy Poffin, and then I have an instant regret moment realizing that the objectively best choice there was Earthen Vessel, and I cannot get the kill because I missed that. So I just use Icicle Soul, essentially just passing the turn. They then use the Power Bracer to increase their health to the point where they're not incapacitated, and use Draco Buster, leaving me unable to recover, thus losing me the battle. Honestly, I can't say I didn't expect this outcome. Even if I did use Earthen Vessel and beat Garchomp, the other one was equally as prepared and could one-shot me there too. In the next game, my opponent won the coin flip and made me go first, so I couldn't Budew stall, but I didn't have the materials to anyway. I just placed down a bunch of Pokemon and passed my turn over to them. All they had was Duskull. They then placed Mega Kangaskhan and passed their turn back to me. I used TM Evo and Crispin and it was back to their turn. They evolved Duskull and used a Jet Energy on Kangaskhan, then they passed their turn again. I then proceed to draw a Rare Candy, which by the way I drew right after Tsareena, so I used the Rare Candy and Icicle Soul, which doesn't incapacitate them because I don't have Vanilluxe yet. They Ultra Ball for Pidgey and Latias, switch, and pass their turn again. I just immediately Trop Kick. They then flip the script and run an errand, getting into a better position than they were before I beat Dusclops. I use Colress's Tenacity to get Area 0 under depths, just in case they use Battle Cage. And still not having Vanilluxe, I use Icicle Soul, which funnily enough does the exact same amount of damage that Trop Kick would. But then out of nowhere they Rare Candy Duskull. This could go one of two ways. They could either do the obvious thing and beat Munkidori, or they could predict that Vanillish has a purpose and beat it, fully destroying any chance of me winning. But luckily for me, since no one uses this deck, they go for the obvious choice of Munkidori. They then use Iono, giving me an Ultra Ball. I was finally ready to unleash the ice cream. They send in Mega Kangaskhan, trying to get lucky with the 1-2 punch, but they fail. Finally, after all this time, I have Vanilluxe, and I immediately incapacitate their main Pokemon before they even get to use it. They use Hilda to get Pidgeot, Pidgeot to get something, Rare Candy Duskull, and then what can only be described as a Charge-a-Bug moment. This seems like a really bad position, but Kangaskhan hesitates to attack Steenee, scared to oppose the menacing ice cream, and they pass their turn. I have a Night Stretcher, so I just bring back Tsareena again. I then immediately Icicle Soul Pidgeot, but they then realized that the ice cream was causing all of their problems, so they shattered it into pieces. By this point, we both knew the end was near. They only had 2 prize cards left, so they just had to beat Tsareena, and I had 3 prize cards left. I just needed to find some way to deal 30 damage to Mega Kangaskhan, and then I drew Munkidori.
Is this really about to happen? The ultimate finish. When I'm on the brink of death. I don't have any damage counters. Yeah, that would have been so cool, but unfortunately, no. Actually, wait, no, I live 1 hit. I live 1 hit from any of their mons, so this is just a ticking time bomb. It's only a matter of time before I either get damaged in some way, I can get Vanilluxe back in play, or they switch into Kangaskhan and land on heads 3 times in a row, thus one-shotting me. But that won't happen. Oh, they're going for it. I'm actually gonna be so mad if this happens. Like, if they don't get extremely lucky, I win. Yes! Alright. Do I want to win a Trop Kick or the chunky funky monkey? They conceded. Neither happens.
Anyways, you probably know how the deck functions by now. There's a deck list in the description. If you're going to use this deck, probably remove Budew. I just really like Budew's stall, but that's going to be all for now.